Yo guys, this is my review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I know this is quite early, seasons literally just came out, but I watched it today, so I wanted to at least get my review out today or maybe tomorrow, depending on when I decide to actually release this, or whenever I decide to release this. But yeah, I always want to get a recording of it, so yeah, because I've got so many things I want to say about this movie that I need to record this while I've got these ideas in my head. So let me go on the first movie. Right, not first movie. Let me go on the first thing I have to say about this movie. Right, this movie is really good. I really liked it myself. I personally really liked it myself. I know some of my friends didn't like it, but I liked it myself. I feel like it was really good portrayed, portrayal of everything, and it had everything correct. Right? So let me go on the first thing. Right, I like how, for example, I like how the main moral to take away. I like how I feel like for let me explain. For each Marvel film or Marvel trilogy, there is a main moral that you should take away. Right? I only have one example of this per se, but again, for each one, you'll probably be able to find one main. But you probably will be able to find one main argument or one main moral that is trying to portray to you. For example, Spider-Man. My example is the current Spider-Man trilogy, Far From Home, Homecoming, and No Way Home. The main moral is identity. You know, the main morals are about his identity, right? Find your identity, find what makes you who you are, and take pride in it and take pride in it. Find what makes you your identity, what makes Peter Parker, what makes Spider-Man. Was the suit make Spider-Man, or is it Peter Parker? Is it the man behind the suit that makes Spider-Man, or is it him? Or is it the suit that makes Spider-Man? That's the kind of main moral to take away from Spider-Man. He's always, throughout all three of his films, he's fighting with his identity in Spider-Man. In the Spider-Man series, he's fighting with his identity, who he is, who his identity, and obviously it ends up with him, being forgotten by everyone. But he's always fighting with his identity. That's the main kind of thing. Take away. Try and find your identity. What makes you who you are? What makes you Joshua? What makes you Joshua? What makes you Edith? Whatever your name is. Right? What makes you? What makes you as a person? You. Rather than being your parents? Why aren't you your parents? Why aren't you your thing? Find out who you are, and continue it, protect it, grow it. Grow it, find it. Find it and protect it, grow it. And take pride in it, right? Take pride in your identity. This is you, who you are, right? That's the main moral to take away from Spider-Man. And so, what I like about this is that, again, this trilogy, at least so far, this trilogy of Black Panthers, has the same kind of recurring main moral in its films. That with two sides, the main moral for me, what I've seen in the two movies, is two sides of the same coin, right? The person you dislike, the person you hate, doesn't necessarily mean that just because you hate this person doesn't necessarily mean that you are so much different, right? You're so much different from this guy. You are two sides of the same coin, right? You could have been this guy, right? What made you not be this guy? You're all the same, right? I'm kind of showing that up. And so that's what I believe. Because, for example, the first one, right? Eric come and Black Panther, but not that much different. If you look at him, if T'Challa was in Eric Killmonger's place, he could have become Eric Killmonger, and we could have had T'Challa become the Eric Killmonger, and Eric Killmonger become T'Challa. They could have been exactly the same. If they were switched, it wouldn't have changed. If they were switched, it would have changed. And at the end, we even get acknowledgement that look of T'Challa saying, look, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, right? I agree with what you're saying. We should, take our things to the outside world, right? I agree with what you're saying, but the way you obviously the difference is that he says that look, obviously he says that the way you done it is bad. The way you done it is bad. And again, in the second film, with the the country, you've got. And then now in this second film, you've got Shuri again. Now in the second film, you've got Shuri and you've got Namor. Shuri and Namor are both the same, right? And it kind of acknowledges that look, these guys are the same, two sides of the same coin. These are both the same people, both fighting for the same things, but they're both the same, and that's the main moral to take away. And I like how it's done because, for example, in this one, they've got the scene where Shuri has Namor on the ground and he could kill Namor, but then they have like a scene where it's like they have like a couple of scenes where it shows both their cultures, like because Shuri. I'll assume that, but if you're watching this, you've already watched this. You've already watched Black Panther. I don't want anyone to watch this before watching Black Panther because I've got a lot of spoilers. So I'm going to assume that you've watched it. But the scene where Black Panther, where Shuri kind of sees the visions about you know about the two cultures being the exact same. That scene shows that look, these guys are the exact same. These guys are the exact same with the same coin. These could have been flipped if Black Panther, if Wakanda was in this position, they could have been flipped. They are the exact same. They both want to protect their people. They both have people that want to protect. That they want to protect the smiles of. They want to protect the smiles. They want to protect them. They both have tragic backstories. They've got people who they've lost. They've both got people who they've lost to outside worlds and outsiders. Both got people they've lost, taken or taken away from them. Why? Both wanted revenge. Both wanted revenge for these losses. And then, but but they both sides take a same point. I feel like that's that kind of shows the main morals of the Black Panther trilogy to be two sides of the same coin. That's the main morals. Two sides of the same coin. And so I feel like having that concurrent film, I'll be very disappointed if the third. I'll be less very disappointed if the third film or the third installment of this trilogy does not include or does not show why have that kind of same element of two sides of the same coin. Because having it these two, having it at least round off with the third installment, having kind of like showing kind of more instilling more will be kind of sad, right? How for example Spider Man ended with Peter Parker losing his. No one knew who Peter Parker was, but he still everyone knows who Spider Man and it still is, right? Kind of ended off with that kind of thing, right? But I was sad. Anyway, what else did I like about the film? I really love the film, by the way. That was the way they portrayed the cultural significance of this Black Panther film. Really good. The way they portrayed Africa, really good. The kind of the amount of research that must have went into this film, right? Really well, right? Really good build off from the first one, right? Really good build off, right? For example, the way they portrayed the funeral, right? In Africa, it's not Africa. Death, we don't see death as a necessary like thing to kind of grieve. Yes, obviously we're sad, right? We're sad for the loss of people, but when we go to funerals are not necessarily big sad black. Everyone's with black. No, funerals we celebrate the life. It's much more about celebrating the life and about celebration, celebrating the life, celebrating what they stood for, celebrating what they brought to us, celebrating who they were in life, who they are, life and death, what that celebrating that they are going to a better place than us to be with God, right? I like how they portrayed the funeral or how they portrayed that just Africa in general, right? The music, the music, right? The kind of cultural significance of the music again. Perfect, right? You got that music kind of seems perfect, right? You kind of got the scene and right? The clothing was really good again. Again, once again, the clothing was really good. And the significance of the clothing again was really good, really, really good. Right? What else about I portrayed Africa as again, no, again in this again it showed that Africa is not just some backwater kind of again it kind of showed Africa not as this backwater we don't have politics. We ourselves struggle with politics. Yes, we don't have necessarily what the West kind of sees as democracy in the same kind of way as the West has it. But we still have a democracy. We still have government. We still have politics. And then obviously that was shown in the first one. But again, now it's shown even more in the second one, right? Show that look, we have politics. This is not just some backwater kind of thing. We still struggle with politics. How do we proceed from here? What this, that. Right, showing that shows that, and I like how it shows in this one. It also shows that we stand on tradition, we stand on cultures, we are very much a cultural kind of cultural traditional continent. As a continent, we're in Nigeria again. We stand on a culture. We have we're very much culture based, right? Background, we're much culture and background based, and also that we're background based, right? We stand for our parents, right? Yes, right. It's not just us. Whereas in the West, It's much more about you as an individual. We're much more about cool. Not only am I representing myself when I go somewhere, when I represent myself when I show myself. Not only that, I represent my family, my background. I represent my parents before me. If I end up being a criminal or whatever, for example, that's how they're gonna see my family. Not it's just about a thing. When they hear my Omitola surname, they're gonna see Omatola. It's not just about me. It's about everyone. My family. If I disgrace my family, it's about family kind of thing. And that's at the heart of a lot of Africans and a lot of Nigerians, especially in Africans. But then we see, and I feel like that was very good. The way they portrayed that, really good. That the fact that we stand on our culture, we stand on traditions, right? Obviously, and like even though look for example, it's portrayed that even though while yes we've been slow to the uptake of modernization, we've been slow as Africa as a continent has been slow to the uptake of modernization. We're still slow, right? We're still not necessarily developing as fast as rapidly. We've not got to the same levels as Western cultures, but we're still happy where we are. Just because, oh yes, we looked at outsiders and we're like, oh look how cool this is. We're still happy who we are. We're still happy as a nation. We're still happy. We're still dancing, right? But however, it showed us not, but not. But however, even though like yes. What else did I? I like the symbolism. I like the symbolism of this film. The symbolism was really good in this film, right? The symbolism was really good. I want to remember that symbolism. For example, the one scene where we see when the Queen dies, Queen Ramonda dies when she dies. The fact that we see like a scene where the throne falls, really good. Because that symbolized that the Queen died. But how that the first thing we see is the throne falling to symbolize that Queen Ramonda is dead. The Queen, the phone, the person sitting on the phone is dead. That's a sick symbolism. But I don't know. The phone is gone. The phone is dead. The Queen is dead. The Queen is gone. It's great symbolism there. What else? Right. What else can I say about symbolism? Right. Again, there was so much symbolism that I'm struggling to remember about all the symbolism that I saw. It was so good, right? So good at the symbolism. What else? Right? Obviously, the way that the the fish, the Nemorians. I don't know what Telecanese. Telecanese. I'm gonna call them Telecanese people, guys from the ocean, guys. How they their salute which is like this, and then they have like a opening kind of thing. Like I wish I could show you about it, like that kind of thing, right? Again, like symbolizing the sun. That was supposed to symbolize the sun, and obviously, the light that obviously he brought to the ocean, right? Symbolizing that. Not only what else symbolism, but symbolism of modern versus old, tradition versus new. What can we do? And again, she still kind of do we stay with traditions? Do we stay with traditions, or do we kind of the symbolism with there's a lot of symbolism with modern versus old, right? And then one of the main roles of this film, is most again also more modern versus moles, tradition versus modern versus tradition versus modernity. Do we look for the new? Do we look for the new, or do we stay as the old? Do we look to stay with tradition, or do we go with modern times? Do we revamp new? Again, and like for example, later, and I like the continuity, right? And move on from that because I can't really off my head. I've kind of can't think of anything else off my head. But again, I probably remember this when I finish the video. It's been a long video, to be fair. What else? I like the continuity. Move on from the last point. I like the continuity, right? The fact that Shuri stated that, look, right, when she was with her mother, that he's gone. Chala's gone, right? And then again, when he's with M'Baku, that's it, M'Baku. When he's with when she's with M'Baku, she goes, her hopes, her dreams for me are gone. They vanish. They don't exist. To kind of the continuity that look, just because it's later, you're sorry guys, you're seeing my just, but just because it's later in the film does not mean that it's her views have changed. Just because later in the film that we forget that she said this back in the later film. The continuity of she believes that once they die, they're gone. They're gone. Just because it's later in the film doesn't mean that. Because again, by that point, they hadn't really shown anything to say that she was going to feel differently. That she's gonna now suddenly start agreeing with her mother, right? It was only later on when they start showing, obviously, when she defeats Namor and obviously that thing that she kind of starts acknowledging now that maybe her mother was right, maybe her mother was right, that they're not gone. Again, but again, by this point, the continuity of Marvel films are very good about that. But again, I like that part of the film. The continuity of the film, one to part of this part again to show that look, just because it's later in the film doesn't mean we've forgotten this. I like for example, and again, I like how they kind of showcase still for example her powers, right? They haven't forgot about the cannons, right? The sound wave cannons that she does from her hands. They haven't forgot about the fact that the vibranium's supposed to be kinetic store, and like she created the Black Panther suit to expand, do the whole explosion, boosh of kinetic energy once it's absorbed enough. They haven't forgot about that. Right? I like that, right? I like that, right? The whole kind of boom, whoosh element, that kind of thing, right? Because, for example, in a lot of other movies and a lot of other franchises, a lot of other mediums, you'll see that powers just get forgotten. For example, one big example is Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. Krillin has the destructor disc, and he could have used it so many times to kill the enemy, so many times. But because of plot wise, because of plot convenience, he just forgets that he can use it, and so the enemy still lives. He could have used it so many times just to go, just when the enemy is distracted, destruct the disc, cut them in half. But no, for some reason, Colin has forgotten that he can use it in this moment in time, and then he can't. He's forgotten that he could just cut them in half with destruct the disc. Like we've seen that but we've seen the destructor disc cut other things, tough things. So we know that it can cut these guys. So it's not like it can't. Again, I've gone. So one of my main points for this video, I liked the continuity. I liked how the way it's portrayed Africa. I liked how the morals, how it's consistently showing the main morals of the trilogy, what the main moral of the trilogy is going to be about, how everyone's the same. However, the main morals being how everyone's the same, right? You all are the same. Just because you dislike this person doesn't mean that you're not necessarily the same as this person, right? You may seem this different at first, but if you look deeper into it, you might be actually the same as the person you dislike. It might be the person. This person might be most similar to you, right? Why? And we're all the same. We both all have ambitions. We all that. Even though we're and the main one was that even though we're all different, we all have ambitions. We're all in the same way. We all have ambitions. We all have people we want to protect, things we want to protect, things we want to do, things we want to see. Right? We all have motives, ambitions, this, that, like goals and stuff we want to achieve. Yes, that might cause people to dislike each other because our goals intersect, but we still all are the same in that sense. That's what I like about it. What else? What else do I like about this film? Right, the way they portray Chadwick Boseman, right? Very good, very good, very good. Very good way they portray Chadwick Boseman. For me personally, the way they portrayed Chadwick Boseman. Again, like when we saw Chadwick Boseman's face or Black Panther's face, for example, and how it was dedicated to Chadwick Boseman, right? We never see him sad. We never see him angry. We always see Chadwick Boseman's face smiling. I feel like that's a very good touch by Disney. Very good touch by Marvel, Disney. As you never see his face as sad or angry. And then again, when we see Shuri, we can do with a past, right? We see Shuri's face. We saw Shuri's face in the past with her brother, right? Again, seeing that Shuri was always smiling when her brother was around, smiling. All that was when her brother was around, smiles. It was all smiles. I like the scene where, like, for example, the door in Malage, where obviously where Koye kind of got kicked from the door at Malage, or demoted back from being a general. What, how how it kind of portrayed it. That had actual deepness. Like we've kind of saw both arguments. I kind of saw both arguments as to why. Well, yes, Okoye has that kind of argument that she's served for Dora Milaje, served Wakanda for her whole life. Yes, but so has Ramonda, Queen Ramonda. So has she. She's given her son. She's given her now at a point her daughter. She's given her daughter, her son, everything. She's lived for Wakanda. She's survived for Wakanda. She's done everything that she could for Wakanda. So has she not done everything she can for Wakanda as well? What if her argument stands for Okoye, it stands for her as well, and that her argument is not necessarily valid against the Queen, because the Queen has also done the same thing. And again, then her arguments like, okay, cool, I've stood by you for this whole time, right? I've stood by you for this whole time, but obviously I can't stand by you all the time. Right? I've stood by you when you were standing by Killmonger, when Killmonger burned the things to the ground. I stood by you. I supported you. I still, right? When you had to kill your husband, right? When I stood by you, when you had to kill your husband. I'm sorry if I'm being a bit mumbly. I hope you can understand this, guys. But again, I'll probably I'll probably re-upload again, and I'll probably kind of explain. I'll probably repeat what I say here again in a different video. I'll probably re-upload a different part of the video. If I forget anything again, I'll probably reiterate it in a different video. But again, yeah. Again, that's those scenes were again the scene. Another thing I liked about the movie is the music. The music was really good. Really good. It fitted. The music fit every scene they were. Every scene that we heard music in the background, or think we heard that music. So good, so good, so good music. The people that go up to sing and people that go to perform in this soundtrack, world class soundtrack, world class music. Bro, the music for me was one of the best things about this film. One of the best, because bro, it just fit every scene. The music fit. Like, oh, but if you told me that this type of music was played before, I wouldn't have believed you. But again, every single music fit every scene. Every single music fit every scene. From the Sylvania sounding one. I can't remember what she said, but the Sylvania to the more modern songs, right? To the Afrobeat songs, to this, to that, to each song, they will just fit every scene. They fit every scene, right? To the music played behind the side parts, to all of that, it fit every single scene, and that's what I feel like the music got it perfectly. For CGI again, Marvel always hits it off with CGI. There's nothing I really need to say about CGI. Let me say about complaints. Now I've gone over the strengths, good parts. Right, I've gone over the strengths, good parts. Right, there's more good parts that I want to say, but I can't think of it now. So again, in that second video, if I do upload the second video, it'll be without a second video based on this. This has been 23 minutes, so I'll probably try and end this before 5 minutes. Now negative. My negatives for it: the part where Shuri gets stabbed and then just kind of shrugs it off. A bit iffy, right? The fact that she just shrugs off. I understand that the vibranium suit would have healed her relatively enough, right? The fact that it would have naturally just kind of healed her. But again, like we've seen other people get stabbed through the middle chest and they've died in this film. Why is Shuri now just tank this now? What's going on? What's the difference between this one getting stabbed and that one getting stabbed again doesn't make sense, at least in my opinion. Or what else? I disliked the fact that you know what else there is like there's something I had in my head just now, but I disliked, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I disliked how Namor kind of got beat. How Namor was, you know, so I understand he was weakened, but he had the fact that I kind of disliked how Namor lost. Right, how Namor lost to Shuri, and especially how he was getting outbeat by Shuri, one that's not necessarily the most she's not combat trained in any way. She's not necessarily the most combat trained person there, individual. She's not combat oriented. Whereas Namor, this god, right? We see him as a god, right? We see him as Black Serpent God, this Kunkara, whatever. Right? We see him as his god, right? We see him as his. But he gets beaten by Shuri. Well, I understand that she was also boosted by the black herb, the herb. She was boosted by the heart shaped herb. I understand that she was boosted by the heart shaped herb, but to say that now instantly puts her on a similar level of strength as Namor, just because he's weakened again, I feel like that's a big stretch. Because he's weakened doesn't mean I don't. I feel like he should still have a better technique, and like yes, it did show that he did have better technique. Well, he did show that he had better technique about understanding about the overshooting. It did show, but I feel like he shouldn't have been that kind of easy. But again, I understand why. Because plot, right? You can't obviously. The whole point was for Shuri to win. How was Shuri to win if the other didn't give up plot armor? Then, what else did I dislike? What? Again, I'll probably think of more of the things I disliked in the later video. Again, I'll probably think of something I disliked in the later video, but again, that'll be in the later video. What else? But again, I can't think of anything else I really disliked. Like I know my friends, for example, one of my friends disliked how Shuri became Black Panther, and like Okoye should have, and some of my friends believe Okoye, but again, I disagree with my friend because how would have Okoye been Black Panther? Black Panther's been passed down by royalty. It's been a royal kind of thing. Okoye has no claim to the throne, has no claim to be Black Panther. How would then Okoye become Black Panther? I understand that obviously Shuri was obviously being one of those people who was trying to go against tradition, but tradition can only be broken so far, and that kind of thing about Black Panther being thing can't be broken. In the royalty kind of thing, we're still heavily the royalty centric system in Wakanda. You can't just take it away just because yes, we're fighting about this tradition. Then Okoye couldn't have been it, and I personally think she should have been it. I personally disagree with him again. I believe she was the correct to be Black Panther at that moment in time, and she was correct to be the Black Panther at the moment. She's correct. She's the correct person to play Black Panther, not only with her smarts, her intelligence, boosting the fact that she's Black Panther, but also obviously this adds to the strength that we've finally got a person who's much more evident with their brain and brawn. Like evident with their brain and brawn. Obviously she's more on the brain side than the brawn side, but she's still strong. She's still got strong and still got fighting prowess. Whereas for example Iron Man was more smart, I think he was necessarily brawn. Captain America was more brawn than he was necessarily smarts. Hulk is more brawn than he is smarts. Thor is more brawn than he is necessarily direct smarts. And a lot of other characters are much more smarts than they're brawn. Right? Then, I personally liked how Shuri was portrayed as Black Panther. I believe that she's good Black Panther, and she's gonna be good if she continues to do Black Panther, to be the Black Panther. She will be good. She will be good. I personally believe it. I personally believe that she'll be good. Shuri is good choice. You know. What else? I liked. Oh yeah, I also liked each character kind of. I feel like each one, even though this movie did not have necessarily a star-studded lineup or star-studded cast. It wasn't necessarily with household names of everyone being household names. Every single fucking actor deserves a round of fucking applause in this film. They portrayed their acting, their roles really well. From Namor to Shuri to Queen Ramonda to Ironheart or fucking Riri Williams or to everyone in the fucking film played their fucking roles brilliantly, and I feel like we should give respect. I'm not really big one for actors and actresses. I'm not gonna name their names, but you guys will know their names. Possibly, I'm not one for that much, but actors. So yeah, again, well, big up to them. They played the roles really well. I fell in love, and I thought I had fell in love with their characters really well. Did really well. The characters, the character development, everything was like the acting was really good. I felt that they. Oh yeah, another thing. Okay, cool. This has got to 30 minutes. I'm gonna talk about this one more thing that I like about this one, but then I'll add everything else to the next one. I liked how they had politics side of this movie was very much enhanced in this one. It was very much it had added a sense of realism. That the fact that look, you know, if you have resources, right, resources have been the start of many wars in real life. Many wars have been started in real life, for example, over lack of resources or resources that another country wants. Another US, for example, has loads of wars about oil wars and lots of all these stuff. UK over Falkland Islands, for example. The UK and the Falkland Wars. Again, a lot of wars have been waged over stuff like this. And so I like how they added the realm of politics to this even more. It kind of added a sense of realism that the Marvel is not just about, not just okay, cool. Added more a higher sense of politics. That look, that obviously there's Sokovia Accords and all that stuff, but again, the fact that it is not just about a world full of gods and angels. That it's not just okay, cool, superheroes and angels and that the politics is not, and even though we're dealing with nation, that politics is not even like a part of it. The fact that they showed the politics of it, like the fact that each of the countries are looking for them, each countries are looking for each country's against them. Obviously, each country's looking for them, and each country's looking for a way to get obtain vibranium, and each country obviously has their negative views on them, negative motives to gain vibranium or this that, like and they're like and how that each country's kind of like vying for them, right? And like the politics side of it, very good. The way they kind of showed the politics side of it, the politics side of Wakanda, the politics side of thing, and the way they portrayed Ramonda in that scene, very good. The way they portrayed Ramonda as being like ruthless, like even though she's old, even though she's she's old, doesn't mean like she can't do shit. She's still a fucking badass, badass bee, bruv. She's still a badass bee, badass bee. She still can hold her own despite and obviously showing that the nation is not just about Black Panther. It's about it's about everyone. Just because the Black Panther's gone doesn't mean that they're weakened. Doesn't mean that the power's gone. Yeah, so that's what I like. I'll go more into detail about politics late in the next video I release later on in this week or in this couple of weeks, maybe a week or so. But yeah. And now to my final rating, to my rating of the film. I'll give 2 ratings to it. Personally, it was an 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. Personally. For my personal subjective opinion. Now for my objective, more of an objective opinion, which is what I normally give in all my other videos, is more about my objective. Is a mix of objective. In my other videos, it's much more of a mix of objective and subjective, but this one's about now. I'm doing my objective one without kind of trying to take away from recency bias and take away from things like recency bias that I've recently just watched it, so I'm a bit overhyped on it because I've just watched it, just finished it, and taken away from the fact that that I have bias towards it because I'm African myself, even though I don't sound like it. I have a fucking Wales accent. I am African. I am Nigerian myself, and it has a meaning to me because of its like cultural significance to me. My objective rating is a 7 out of 10. My objective rating to me is a 7 out of 10 objectively. Obviously yeah, but or maybe not obviously, but you know what I mean. Anyway, that's it guys. Hopefully you hit the subscribe button, subscribe, subscribe, like the video if you liked it. Again, this is probably my longest video on this channel and probably will be the longest video for a long time until I decide to talk for an hour about a fucking movie or anime. Again, this is a movie review on an anime channel. Who would have thought? Again, I thought I might as well push this right now because again, farms clicks. I guess. Anyway, see you guys later. Subscribe, like, do whatever you want. Bye.